Hi, I'm Heather Catchpole. Welcome again to Careers with STEM Online. I'm very excited to be chatting to Mohamad Jebara today about MathSpace, a fantastic program to get kids online and what they've learnt during this pandemic period when kids were suddenly taken out of the classroom. So it's fantastic to be joining us here with Mohamad today. Thanks for joining us on Careers with STEM, Mohamad. And I'm really, we've used MathSpace. My son uses MathSpace. Can you tell me a little bit about it to start with for those who aren't familiar with the program?
Yeah, so MathSpace is a digital program that basically covers mathematics online. You're probably very familiar with a lot of other digital maths programs where you just ask a lot of content online, or you watch some videos online, the teacher going through a concept, and then you do questions. I guess what makes MathSpace different to all the other digital programs out there is generally those digital programs are multiple choice or just what's the final answer. So when we started MathSpace, we said that's not the way you actually do maths on pen and paper, and that's the way teachers teach maths. They actually really want you to go through and show you're working. And often you'll hear teachers say, "I'm more interested in the working out than I am in the final answer." So we built MathSpace with that in mind. We allow students to work through a problem step by step. And then a bit like a personal tutor sitting next to you. If you ever get stuck, you get kind of guided feedback and hints as you go through a problem. So yeah, that's really it. We're covering now the grade 3 right through to grade 12 curriculum. So you can pretty much replace your textbook with MathSpace and get this guided help on every question.
So most people hate maths. Mohamad, I have to ask, why did you feel like you wanted to start a program to teach maths in this way?
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not one of those people that hates maths. I think maths is really kind of a fundamental skill in life. So I've always been really passionate about maths personally, and I think it's a real shame that we kind of have this culture where not being good at maths is kind of okay. You can almost laugh about, oh yeah, maths wasn't my strong point, but you would never say like, I don't know how to read. So certainly I wanted to make a difference, being somebody that loves maths. I actually was a derivative trader in a previous life, and one of the things I learned as a derivative trader it was how important it is to use data to decide what trades you're going to make. And I couldn't possibly imagine trading without that constant data that's coming through. So one of the things I guess when I left that career and thought about doing something more impactful with my life and maths being a passion of mine, I thought, how can we provide that kind of data that a derivative trader has to make the best decisions about what trades to make to teachers, so they can make the best decisions about what to teach their students and how to group their students, how to individualize learning for their students. So that was kind of some of the inspiration coming from that previous life as a derivative trader.
We recently had all of the teachers globally flip the classroom. 25% of Australian kids are now using MathSpace. What did the pandemic mean for you guys, and how did you find that students responded to that in using the program?
Yeah, it's really, really positive, actually. We just put a survey out recently, and students have really enjoyed taking more ownership of their learning. So that was a really interesting thing where I guess just generally, because of the way the classroom has always been, teachers have had to direct students to, this is what we're working on today. So because they saw them less, it was more, and this is something that we're big proponents of. It's to kind of be more goal driven with your students. So to say, this is what I expect you to reach on MathSpace over the next week or over the next 2 weeks, and students go and independently kind of work through that. So I've had a really positive response to it. It's opened up a lot of teachers' eyes to the potential. We've had a lot of teachers who have been using MathSpace for a few years who have suddenly kind of written into us saying, I just didn't realize how powerful the program was, because I was kind of using it just to supplement the way I'd always been teaching. But it forced them to kind of explore the program in its fullest capacity.
And one of the things that Australian schools do every second year is a national assessment program where schools are basically assessed using something called NAPLAN. Now, you found that dropped tremendously during that pandemic period.
Yeah.
Do you think that teachers were teaching to NAPLAN, and do you think that we should get rid of it?
Short answer, yes, we should get rid of it. There's no doubt that teachers, and I don't want to, it's not the teacher's fault. We have a high stakes assessment, and teachers are forced to teach to this test. There's so much riding on it, with my schools, with school enrollments, things like that, because so many people are looking at the results of this test, that teachers are forced to teach to it. And it was really, I think it's very clear in the data that as soon as you took away that test, we had a 95% reduction in the number of NAPLAN related tasks that were being assigned. So as soon as you gave teachers the autonomy and the choice to say, we want you to assign the tasks that are best for your students, and we had a 95% reduction in the NAPLAN tasks, even though they assigned these tasks last year. So if they wanted to just get a comparison to the kids of last year, for example, then they could just reassign those tasks and get that comparison. It's just not that helpful for them. It's just a lot better to assign these the formative assessment tasks that are most relevant to what you're learning in the classroom. So it was a huge I think it's a big wake-up call that we are putting enormous pressure on teachers to teach to the test, when as soon as you give them professional judgment to assign the tasks that they think are best. And remember, they assigned 50% more tasks on MathSpace, or 46% more tasks to be exact. So it's not like the program or the platform was being used less. The program was being used much, much more, but there was a 95% reduction in tasks associated related to NAPLAN. So I think it's just clear cut. Teachers don't want it. Teachers find other data useful. They're still collecting data. They're collecting data using tools like MathSpace and other digital tools. So it's not like they don't know, or they're in, and there's these defenders of NAPLAN now that are coming out and saying, oh, we're going to use a year of data, we're going to use a data point. It's teachers, the people that matter, that are actually working with these students every single day, have this data. And they have better data because they have the data very specific to what they're teaching, what the students are learning, where they're at in the classroom. So I think it's clear cut. I think, there's a role that NAPLAN plays in standardizing assessment across schools, so you can have that comparison. Important for administrators to make high-level decisions, but there are much cheaper, more efficient, less anxiety-driving ways to get this kind of data to teachers. So it's clear-cut in my mind. I really think there's just so many better ways to achieve that standardization, and we should be working hard to doing that, rather than saying let's drive NAPLAN online. That's not the answer. There's better tools out there.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think as parents, we all had a bit of a deep dive and crash course into how our kids are learning mathematics. So it was really interesting to see that. Just finally, Mohamad, what's next for you? What's next for, what are your goals in the next little while?
Yeah, so one big one actually is around NAPLAN, and really we're building a tool at the moment that we hope will I guess, kill NAPLAN for good. So what we're doing is getting our data over the last 10 years now, student data, and how students learn, and we're creating a really efficient, adaptive diagnostic test that can isolate students' skills, strengths and weaknesses across the entire curriculum. So what we're hoping for is we can really, we're working towards optimizing these algorithms that we in just 10 minutes a week, as part of normal classroom practice, have a very specific diagnosis of where skills are at, where students are at across the curriculum, what skills they know. So it's a really exciting project for us, and we think that that's the exact kind of tool that you would need as a teacher, where we can get that standardization because it's all mapped to the national curriculum. And but it's part of normal classroom practice. It doesn't drive any kind of anxiety. It's not high stakes. It's just an ongoing tool that both parents, teachers, and students can check into to see where they're going.
Fantastic, yeah, because the data's all there. Where can teachers go to find out more?
So you can visit mathspace.co, and we can sign up to a trial and get a taste of MathSpace. and take it from there.
Terrific. Thanks for joining us on Careers with STEM, Mohamad.
Thank you.